this is Darren with My RV Works. We're in Port Angeles right now. I'm sitting in my Lance camper. We decided to make this like a little mini studio, but these little 10-minute with the tech sessions, that's what you're watching right now. These 10-minute with the tech, I'll find some time to sit down and answer a bunch of questions. I've got some people behind me that are going through all the questions and things like that. If your question was chosen, a lot of times that team will kind of say, hey, your question was chosen, and Darren's going to cover it on one of these new video series that we have. The venue might change. I might do some of my service trailer. It's beautiful here in the Olympic mountain range, so you might see me up on a snow-capped mountain. Yeah, like I'm going to take all my equipment up there. But so the venue might change, so it's going to be exciting to watch these things, but I'm excited to share this information with you. And basically the idea is the questions come at us from all over, I would find time sometimes. I got to where I just stopped answering comments because there's literally hundreds of comments, hundreds plural of comments that come in each week, and as a working man out there in the field, I didn't have the time to sit there and answer everybody's question. And so that's why I put a team together for us to help that, because there are some really good questions, and I do have a heart to share, and I really want to make this a collective where people can ask questions, and I don't know all the answers, but I have worked on thousands of RVs and fixed thousands and thousands of things on RVs, and because of that, I have some wisdom from the trail that I can bestow upon you and be your guide as you try to make the repairs yourself. So that's the whole gist. That's what this is all about. So with that, I set my timer for 10 minutes. I got 8 minutes and 20 seconds left. And I just kind of go through some questions. And sometimes I can get 1 or 2 questions done. Sometimes I can get 3 or 4. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, we got an agreement there? All right. So George made a comment, and I got to pick this question. It was kind of exciting because I get to look at the questions too. And so George made a comment, and he says, so this was the one where the video was 12-volt DC short to RV frame caused leveling jacks to malfunction. And at the end of the video, I kind of took you to Lake Crescent, which was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lake. We're like 15 minutes away from it. I love it playing. We're playing in the kayaks and stuff. So come and visit. Just to see that lake is worth the trip up here. It's phenomenal. It's 600 feet deep. Woo! And there's no nitrogen or something, so it's... Okay, I'm on a tangent. I was thinking about Lake Crescent. You know what? I'm going to do one of these videos at Lake Crescent. Yes, I promise you. Watch these videos, subscribe to this, and you'll see me do a video on Lake Crescent. I'll set up all my equipment, and I'll have the lake behind me. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for you. That's going to be fun. And I've burned up 3 minutes, and we haven't even got to the first question yet. But anyway, George had a question. It was more of a comment, but that was a video that I made where I'm trialing this thing. That was a long job, and we edited out a lot of it just to make the video fit. But on that job, we were following the trail of 12 volts, and it led to a battery cable that was hot, that was laying in the battery tray, and it was a mess. And he made the comment, that's why I hate, capitalized hate, and don't understand why RVs use black wire for hot, but the batteries use red wire for hot, and yet black for negative. And oh man, you have no idea how frustrating that is. Now, if you're one of my RV tech followers, I love you guys. You can get in here and chime and beat this drum and fly the flagpole up because it's going to catch some wind. I am telling you, you guys could tell war stories, I'm sure, about people following the color of a wire. They're not colorblind, they're color fixated. Like the red wire does this, the black wire does this, the white wire does this. And I'm telling you folks, when you get into an RV, all that is burned in the fire pit. It does not matter. So yes, for example, to the point that George is making, your battery, right? A red wire, a black wire. Red's plus, black's minus. Well, guess what? You get into the RV, go in your house. On your wall receptacle, black is hot and white is minus. You get into Lippert control, the Lippert leveling systems, there's a 9-pin connector, white's plus and brown's minus. You get into refrigerators, they're running power 12 volts on a green wire. So on furnaces, you've got yellow is minus and black is plus, sometimes red is plus. So, oh man, I saw this and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to jump on this one because yes, the point that I want you to take away from here is never trust the color of a wire. I did a video where I talked about that 7-way connector, and I was talking about the different color codes. And when that video first came out, we were getting so bombarded with people saying, I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's not right, that's not right. Well, yeah, it is right, okay? They were fixated on the color of the jacket on a wire, not on what the circuit does. You have to follow the circuit not the color of the wire. So I love all you guys that are working on utility trailers and cargo trailers, but guess what? I'm an RV tech and I work on RV trailers. So I have the circuits are the same. They land on the same points on that connector, but the color of the wire changes. So I could go on and on and on, but yeah, George, I feel your pain, brother. It is crazy how the colors change. And if you've watched my videos for any length of time, you see that I'm all about following the trail. I don't say follow the color, I say follow the trail. That 12 volts is going to change colors on you and all this kind of stuff. Even in the furnaces, they start off as a blue wire, then they change to a thermostat wire, and it's just maddening. So you got to learn, if you're going to learn this and you want to be good at it, you have to learn how to be a detective and follow the trail of the wire, not the color of the wire. So anyway, boy, I made a long deal about that one, but yeah, that is it's maddening, but I don't expect them to be changing it. Now, the one thing you could take away from this is overwhelmingly, but not all the time. If it's an AC circuit in your RV, it's going to be a solid Romex wire. And if it's a DC circuit in your RV, it's going to be a stranded flexible wire. So overwhelmingly, not all the time. Don't hold me to like, well, Darren said, but in your overwhelming thing, if you're following a wire, you find a random wire in your wall. If it's in a Romex, it's AC. If it's stranded, it's DC. Okay? So enough on that. Boy, that was my first question. And I thought I was going to sail through that one rather quickly. So the next question, Holly has a question. I think I'll finish up on this one because I got 3 minutes left. So Holly's got a question, and she's watching my video on air conditioners. How can I power an AC unit that is not installed on the coach? I would like to test it before I install it. Okay. I would highly recommend that because you don't want to put the thing up there. Now, I have a video on a crane hoist I made on how to get those things up and down, because some of those things are a pain. But if they're small ones, you could throw it on your shoulder and climb up a ladder and throw it up there. But if they're big, the RV's really tall, you can need that crane hoist thing I made with my little giant ladder and a ATV winch. So if you're going to test it, let's say you got it on sawhorses or something like that. Let's just say, for example, I don't know if it's a Dometic, and I don't know if it's a Coleman air conditioner. That would matter. It would matter, and I'll tell you why. So you're going to need 3 things to test your air conditioner. You're going to need a 120 volt power source. You're going to need a 12 volt power source, and you're probably going to need a thermostat. Okay, so the 120 volt, you need that. 12 volt, you need that. Now, where do you hook those in? The other thing you need is a schematic, and a lot of times the air conditioners have a schematic on them or a manual. I've got manuals on my website. You can go find manuals for your refrigerator, Coleman, Dometic, RXL, whatever. The old Colemans are gone, but those were great air conditioners. And then you had, Atwood had the Air Command for a while, and don't make those anymore. But what you're going to do is you need to check the 120 to 120, 12 to 12. And the difference is if it's a Coleman, Colemans are great because the Coleman thermostat, overwhelmingly, they're different. The Coleman thermostat, I got an itch. Okay, there we go. The Coleman thermostat is, since 12 volts up, it's multiple conductor wire up to the air conditioner. So if it's a Coleman air conditioner, then you look at your schematics and you got the GY and I visualize the things and I see them, I know what they mean, but I can't think of what they are. It's usually the yellow sticker there on the Coleman. But you have these pins that stick up, and you take your little wires and you connect to them. Well, they want to see 12 volts, right? So you could take your 12 volts and you could just say, okay, well, I want low fan, boom, and you touch it on the, I think the gray wire, or the one that says GY. Just check the schematic. I want compressor to turn on, you put 12 volts on this pin. I want high speed, you turn on this pin. I want the reversing valve to energize, you touch it on this pin. And because that thermostat is the one that's making the decision and sending all those signals up to the control board. The control board's the thing that's got the relays in it and switches the power. So if it's a Coleman, you could do it that way. If it's a Dometic, you're out of luck. Dometic is overwhelmingly going to use like the phone cord type connector, or in some of their air conditioners they have like 3-wire, a plus, a minus, and a like orange is normally the color, but that color is changing too. And that's like an RS-232 type communication that they're passing. Those are a little bit more difficult to interface with. So if it's a Dometic, you're going to need a Dometic thermostat and plug your phone cord in. Be careful on the phone cords because they might change the polarity of the wires and the plugs. I just make my own plugs. So if you needed to do that and all your wire, if it's a phone cord style and it's on the Dometic and that's all embedded in your walls and stuff, just go get 2 phone cords and get a gender changer. And if it turns out that the phone cord you get plugs into your thermostat and everything works, great. If not, then get your 2 phone cords and put your gender changer in there to change the wire polarity. or do what I do, just cut the end off and put a new end on it. So to answer your question, you want to test it, highly recommend that. I'm assuming you probably got some sawhorses, 120 volts, 12 volts, thermostat, and I gave you a couple other tips and tricks on things you can test for that. So hope that helps. And folks, we're out of time on my 10 minutes. I think this was going to be, I'm going to start calling these 12 minutes with a tech, because I always seem to go over. If you've watched a couple of these already, I always introduce them kind of the same and end them the same. And on a couple of them, I've kind of gone over. I've never gone short. So sorry. I've just got too much information. I get too excited. So, but you know the drill. If this was helpful, give us a thumb up, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, share it with your neighbor, and happy campers say my RV works. So until the next video, this is Darren signing off.